Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Mihir's Trading Journey. This is your host, Mihir, and it's always great to have you guys here. Now, today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite strategies, and I'll show you exactly how to trade that strategy, exactly the way I do it, and that strategy is none other than order block trading strategy. Not only will I show you what that strategy is and how to trade it, but I'll also be using the backtest method on Motive Wave to go back to random times in the past and try that strategy out, just to show you guys how I would have taken that strategy regardless of what day it was, what time it was that we were using it, and not be biased because I know a specific day where it worked out. The way we're going to be choosing those dates is going to be using random.org, and we're going to use this to actually go back into time and backtest our strategy. So I have no bias on what days I know that the strategy actually ended up working out. Now, it would have been easy for me to just go ahead and show you the strategy hindsight, but I wanted to show you the strategy plus provide you proof of how it works, or if it doesn't work, we're going to find out live in this video, and that way you guys have raw insight into how the strategy actually works. And before we get into the actual strategy, no strategy single-handedly is the best strategy in the market. In fact, most strategies can actually work out if you just manage your money properly. And the reason behind most strategies working out if you manage your money properly is the concept of self-fulfilling prophecy. When you're using a strategy that is based around key levels, you're not the only one looking at that key level. Someone else might be looking at that key level from a different perspective, but they're still at the end of the day looking at that same key level. So you believing in that key level makes you part of the majority of people that are looking at that key level to trade off of, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy, which then circles around back to you, making you profitable if you're looking at the right key levels. So at the end of the day, use a strategy that helps you define good key levels, and order block for me happens to be one of those. Now, I use this order block strategy day to day on live stream. If you don't know, I live stream every single morning on the morning session. So just a quick plug, go check that out. Trust me when I say this, the live stream really helps. It's raw insights. I hide nothing. It's all raw. If I lose, you guys see it. If I break even, you guys see it. If I get front run, you guys see it. And as you've seen from the shorts, I post everything as raw as possible. That being said, enough of the plug. Let's get right into this. Now, for the sake of this video, I went ahead and created a blank chart with no indicators whatsoever, so we can actually trade the price action where the order block occurs without any bias from any other indicators. That being said, you guys know that in market, most of the times you want to use confluences with other strategies as well, or other key areas / levels to give you confirmation to enter your trades. Now, because most of those indicators actually reprint on the close, they're actually misleading when you're talking about high in sight, and this is where most other YouTube gurus actually fail at this. Now, most confluence indicators that you use in live market actually reprint on the close, so they can be misleading, which is why a lot of these YouTube tutorial gurus will actually give you misinformation, because they will look at the market high in sight and see that the indicator is telling them something else completely different from live markets, which actually confluences with what they're saying in the tutorial. For me, I didn't want any of that kind of bias, so we're going to go ahead and use a blank chart. Now, first thing I want to mention is I use the 5-minute chart, I use the 3-minute chart, and I use the 1-minute chart to do my trading session. As you can see, this is my main chart setup. Now, what I'm showing you here is actually almost picture perfect of an order block. So please take this specific example with a grain of salt. It's not going to look this perfect every single time. In fact, most of the times it's not going to look picture perfect. If you do decide to join my live streams, you'll see me trading order blocks that don't look exactly like the one that I'm about to show you in this specific example. Now, as you guys can see, on September 26th, which was a Thursday, market opened up on NASDAQ and it started just running down like it was going to hell. As an order block trader, we so much so don't really care about the news itself that made this happen. It could be overnight inventories, it could be a random catalyst from the feds, maybe consumer confidence or Michigan sentiment. It could be a whole multitude of catalysts that could make the market move like this, but we don't really care. We want to see the market move sharply in a direction and create an order block. Now, how do you look for an order block? Well, you want to see this move downwards, for example, on Thursday, and then you want to see a color of a candle opposite to the color of the trend. So for example, we were moving downwards, making huge red candles, and all of a sudden we see this green candle in the middle of nowhere. Now, the reason why this candle is created in a downtrend is not really necessary to scalpers or day traders. However, it's always good to know market fundamentals if you want to understand the fundamental of where that strategy is coming from. Order blocks are directly related to supply and demand. And as you guys know, supply and demand is basically where traders are looking to get in at a rebate price or a premium price, depending on if you're either a seller or a buyer. Now, in this specific example, the supply zone is somewhere in this box represented by the 2 lines. This is where a lot of short orders are filled in, and we have a gap candle downwards. To understand the order blocks, we need to understand that the supply zone is where traders wanted to get in the first place. However, not everyone's orders got filled in because the market moved so fast downwards, it never came back to grab the liquidity above or the other orders that were sitting there for limits. So we have multiple things happening here at the same time as soon as we get a very, very fast move downwards. First, people that were on limit orders up here, a lot of those limit orders are now going to market in because they don't want to miss out on this big move happening right now. That's going to add fuel to the fire and make the candles run down even faster. You guys can also see that these candles are now creating wicks, which tells you the momentum of the short is slowing down just a little bit in that area. And the reasoning behind that, people that are already profitable, scalpers and intraday traders, they're trying to take their profits out at this point, people that were shorting, which adds a little bit of the buying pressure from the opposite side. Because if you're not selling, you're buying. If you're not buying, you're selling. As long as you're taking a trade, you're doing either one of those. So if you're in a short position on this move downwards and you want to get out for profits, you're going to be adding to the bid side, which means you're going to be pushing the market a little bit upwards. Now that brings me to my third point. As buyers are seeing these wicks happening, they are thinking that now we're reaching a rebate price because we've fallen so fast, so far down that we can go long now. Now it doesn't matter what levels the buyers are looking at because we're short biased. And so what the buyers start doing is they start adding in market orders, making a green candle appear on the orders because they overpower the shorts just by a little bit for a very small time frame. And that's the reason why we see these order block candles. It's a combination of people removing their limit orders and jumping into the shorts. The shorts that are profitable taking their profits out, and buyers marketing in thinking that we are about to trend upwards and reverse, all of that just to fail down and go down further. Now, why does the market continue going down further? The best explanation that I can give you here is when the limit orders here aren't fulfilled properly, they start jumping in for market orders, making the market go down even further, and then the buy stops are taken out, which adds to the short side even further down. All that reasoning is important to understand just to understand the fundamental of why the move works, but it's not really important at all to trade this strategy. So after boring you guys with that, let me actually show you how to trade this strategy. So once again, what you're looking for is a trend downwards. It doesn't have to be multiple candle trend downwards. It could be a 1, 2, 3 candle trend downwards. You're looking for a green bullish candle to occur. You got to remember this bullish candle cannot be an extremely bullish candle. The way you decide that's an extreme bullish candle or not is you want to see the average candle size for the red side, and from there compare the size of the green candle. And if the red candle on average is way bigger than the green candle, that ends up being a good order block to trade off of. Then what you want to do is you want to wait for another red candle to spawn in and break the lows of that order block and close. So that happens on this 10:05 candle in this example. Now the best setups actually occur when this candle is able to close below and also break the nearby lows or wicks at the same time, which ends up happening on this candle at 10:10, which breaks below the low of this green candle and also breaks below these wicks at the bottom at the same time and close below it. Okay, so how do we trade this? Now we got the break below the order block and we got to close below the nearest lows. What you want to do is you want to wait for the next candle to retrace back and touch the wick of the order block. So in this case, the green order block. And so in this case right here, this would now become the level you're looking to short off of. So for us, the 10:06 candle closed below the order block, but not quite below the previous low. The 10:10 a.m. candle actually closed below the previous low, and the 10:15 candle came back to retrace this level right here. Now for the sake of this tutorial, I've drawn this line to show you guys where the low of this order block candle is. However, if you check my stream, I almost never use drawings anyways, because all I do is I put a limit order in, which already draws a line for me at that level and fills me in when the candle touches. So in our case, the 10:15 candle came back and retraced into that level, and that's where we would short immediately. And as you guys can see, when this candle came to touch that wick, the maximum drawdown that you took was 5-point drawdown to all this downside that you see afterwards. Now, I'm not here to tell you how you should be taking your profits out or where your stop loss should be, but here's an example that I often use on my live stream as well. If I'm entering at the low of this order block, my stop is going to be above the order block's high, somewhere around here at the 439 level. Now, for me personally, I've backtested this strategy a lot of times, and the reaction is almost immediate to the order block, so we don't even see that much drawdown, as you guys can see here. And even if you entered started on the candle previously at the 10-10 candle, you still wouldn't see that much of a drawdown according to what our stop is at right now. That being said, once again, I'm not here to explain to you what my strategy for risk management is. That's going to be a video on its own if you guys ask for it. And that changes person to person very heavily. And you need to understand what makes you profitable according to your risk management. So instead of telling you what the target to take your profits out is going to be, I'm going to tell you a good way to do it is 1-to-1. However, that's not even something I follow personally. So I will leave that to you for you to take your profits out according to what you want. All I want to do is show you how you can enter and how you can put a stop loss at it. But I'm never going to show you exactly how to put your stop loss or exactly how you can take your profits out at all. I'm not here for that. And people that tell you that, they're those fake YouTube gurus that think that every single type of strategy works for every single type of person, including the risk management strategies. Moving on from there, you could have seen that we could have captured any amount of points from here and down. Now, are these points guaranteed all the time? No, they're not. I'm going to be clear with you, right? You're not going to see a clean move like this. And earlier I said this is just a perfect example that I wanted to show you so you understand the concept of order block. Now that you've seen how the order strategy works, we're going to go ahead and use the random date generator to actually generate us date, which we can go back to and back test this strategy. Let's get right into it. Now, the total number of random dates that I want to generate is 5 for the sake of this video, which is the default on random.org, is because out of the 5, few might just be dud days where we don't actually get the setup at all. And I really want to make sure you guys get a solid 2 to 3 examples in this video. Now for the dates, just to stay relevant to the current market conditions, we're going to go ahead and select January 1st, 2024, all the way up to September 25th, 2024. That way we're relevant in data, but we also have a wide variety of days that we can randomly go back to. We're going to select all the weekdays. I'm just going to select this option right here just so I can read it better. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see all the selections properly. And then I'm just going to go ahead and hit get dates. And here we go. We got 5 random generated days. We're going to go back to these specific dates and prove that this strategy works or doesn't work and backtest it live on this video. So as you guys can see on the replay, I went back into the date January 19th, 2024, which ended up being a Friday. And let's see if the market gives us an opportunity to play an order block strategy. This video shows you an example of what the strategy will look like and if it's even profitable at all. Now, before I hit play, I want you guys to understand, please use the strategy with other confluences. This strategy is not meant to be used by on its own. The reason why I'm not using anything else in Confluence is because, one, it leads to errors because it reprints on market close, which will include my bias to look at market high in sight. Second, I want to show you raw insights of how this strategy in itself can work as well. And third, I want to see this live with you guys, whether this works or not if we were to use it all on its own, and how much better it can actually become if you use it with some other confluences to avoid false entry points. So I'm going to use the step to next bar tool to go ahead and just skip to next bars as the bars are being created. Now, as you guys can see, we're making a move upward sharply. As you guys can see, we've left a red order block on that move upwards. We can also see the recent 5-minute candle has broken out of it. It has also cleared the recent high as well. And so now this example is valid to take an order block entry for long once we touch the top of this wick. So there we go. Now we're going to skip in time to see if we can get a retracement back into this. So I wanted to quickly comment that we are turning around to go back and retest this order block. Now remember one thing, guys, because I'm skipping in candles, it's hard for me to show you live data on Motiveway because I'm recording this on a Saturday. So I can't hit play on the button. But you guys got to remember, as soon as this thing hits the wick of the previous order block, you're going to take the long. You're not going to wait for that candle to close. So as you guys can see on the next candle at 10:35, we close and we touch the order block. However, you guys are not going to be waiting for this thing to close. You guys are going to take the long as soon as it touches the high of the previous order block. Now that you've taken a long, I'm going to just keep this example short and simple, and I'm going to put the stop loss at the lows of this red candle order block, something like this. Once again, you guys need to know what your risk parameters are in this case. But for me, this is what I'm going to be taking as my stop loss. Now for take profit for this example, I'm just going to take it at the highs, which will give us a more than 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And let's continue and see if this works out. And as you guys can see, we hit our profit target and we would have taken our trade off. We barely gave into our drawdown and we took it straight up from there. Now, this is exactly what I meant earlier when I said that most of the times the order block strategy that I use is immediately reactive in the direction of the move that I'm taking it. As you guys can see on the examples of the live stream, through my shorts, and right now on video as well. So this is a win in our books. And this seems to be like a 32-point winner where it's like a 20-point stop loss. Now, you don't need to capture this 34-point move upwards. Your risk to reward can be less or it could be higher. higher. It depends all on you. You have to backtest it and understand what works best for you throughout historical data of your backtesting. Now let's move on to the next date of the random generator and see if we can get another setup. And here we are, guys, May 9th, 2024 at the market open. This happens to be a Thursday, one of my best days of the week historically speaking. Let's see if we get a setup on this date. Now, as you guys can see that the market starts running down and this candle ends up being very bullish, though we can still look for an order block on the downside. Let's see what the market gives us actually. So now it seems like the market actually wants to reverse upwards, and it ended up being a reversal. And it ended up being a reversal again. And this is exactly why we wait for the order block's high to be broken and the price to close above, because this really would have became an order block if you didn't wait for that. Now I paused here because you guys can see we have officially moved out of this trend. We went upwards and we got a nice healthy looking little order block right here. Now because the price is closed above the order block and has broken the previous high, we're ready to put in our buy order. So I'm just representing my buy order with the price line, and this is exactly where you would go long as soon as the market comes back and retraces to that level. You're not going to wait for that candle to close. You're going to take it as soon as this price line is touched. So you would have already been in this trade. You wouldn't have waited for this thing to close. Now for the sake of this video, I'm going to put my stop loss right under the order block low, and we're going to see if we get this move upwards. We're going to go ahead and take our profit at least 1-to-1. So for me, for example, I'm going to go ahead and take the profits out at the 50 cycle level. Let's see if we can get filled in at our profit target. And so unfortunately, this turns out to be a day where we take the loss on that order block strategy. Now, if I played this according to my real live stream style risk management, I would have actually won this trade. But once again, for the sake of this video, we didn't win this trade if you went for the 50 cycle level. And again, you guys could have won this trade as well if you had a different style of risk management, or you could have lost even worse if you had a different style of risk management. That being said, something to notice is when we went long, we took barely any drawdown at all. We went from 0.9 to 0.3. Now, because we got only a 6-point drawdown immediately on that move and we moved immediately upwards, you could have taken out profits for a 20-point profit, for example, at the 40s level. And that's exactly what I would have done on my strategy as well. Now, that being said, if you want to figure out what my risk management is, please comment down below on this video and I will try to make a video if there's high enough demand on what my risk management is, which would have allowed me to win this trade or any other trades that I most often win on my live streams as well. We're going to take this day as a loss for the sake of the example of this video, and we're going to move on to the next day. And now we're on June 17th, which is a Monday at 9:30 a.m. and let's see if we get a setup in this market today. Okay, I wanted to pause the video here and show you guys that now we're in a healthy uptrend and we have broken a previous high and above the order block and closed, which means now on the next candle, if we do end up retracing to the high of the previous order block, we're going to go long entry. Once again, we're going to draw a line to show you where we're going to enter so you guys can see it visually. Once we get into this trade, I'm going to draw my stop loss and my take profit as well at the same time. And as you guys can see, we should have been in this trade already as soon as it touched the order block right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my stop loss right under that order block level. And once again, on this day as well, I'm going to aim for that 50 cycle level on the top side for take profit. And let's see if we can get this move upwards. And as you guys can see, we have another day that we won on. So we have 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 win again. Now, once again, I wouldn't be taking this long of a trade, meaning I wouldn't be aiming for a almost 40-point trade. You guys can see it on live stream. I often don't aim for something this big. I try to take my base hits and get out of the market. But those of you that are watching this video, you guys can see if you add this with other confluences, you can actually get a really, really sick trade going on for the rest of your day. So not only does this work for scalping, it works for any sort of intraday trading as well. And on bigger chart timeframes, it also works for swing trades and long-term investments. Let's move on to the next day. All right, so we are now on August 1st, Thursday at 9:30 a.m. The unique thing about this date is that it's actually the first date of the month, which is really sick. I get to showcase whether the order block might work or not work on the first day of the month. I don't know. Let's see. It's random market conditions for me as well as much as it is for you guys that are watching this right now. I wanted to pause the video here, guys, because we got our setup going, but I wanted to also point out the fact that we had a nice little uptrend going on market open. Then we put in this red candle, which could have ended up being an order block. But once again, we didn't break and close above the order block, or we didn't even close above and break above the previous high, making this setup an invalid setup, and it ended up reversing on us. Now we got the second order block that you could have considered being an order block, but we never touched it, so we couldn't take that trade downwards. Now we're also getting another order block set up here, so we would go short off of this line once the market retraces to this. Once again, we're not waiting for the candle to close for us to go short on this. And it turns out we didn't even go back to touch that order block. This is a perfect example of a day where like trend is so strong downwards that we might not even come back to the order block. And this is perfect for this video because it shows you all sorts of examples. We saw 2 examples of winning, 1 example of losing, and now we're seeing an example where it doesn't even fill us in and it front runs our orders every single time. That being said, we do have an order block here, so I'm going to draw a line for a possible entry point right here, and we're going to see if we can get a retracement to that level now. And it turns out that we don't get filled in at all on this trade as well. We're going to delete that entry point as well. We're going to continue forward, press forward, and see if we can get another trade off of these order blocks right here. Now, the way you decide whether to take the low of this order block or take the low of this order block, you have to remember that you want to take the high or the low of the sideline of the order block. So in this case, the sideline low is going to be the low of this order block, and the sideline high of this order block is going to be this high right here. Now, obviously, because we're going to be taking a short, we're going to take the low of this candle right here. We're going to press forward and see if we get a retracement to that level. And once again, guys, this day just ends up being a front run day for all the order blocks. This is a day where you could have used any other strategy to trade. That's why keep multiple strategy styles in your arsenal. And you also want to keep using confluences to see if you could have possibly front ran your order block for your entry point. That being said, we're going to call this a dud day as we didn't get any order block opportunities in the 3 order block setups that we got. And we're going to move on to the next random calendar date that we got. Okay, now we're on Friday, August 30th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. Now, this is another cool date because it's on the 30th, which means it's the end of the month, and it's on a Friday. Those 2 things are going to make the market behave in different ways. I'm as oblivious to any sorts of moves that could possibly happen, as oblivious as you guys are watching this video right now. So let's go ahead and see if we can get a setup on this day. So I think we've scrolled far enough to see that we probably aren't going to get any order block setups. As you guys can see, it's 2:40 p.m. in the market. So we're going to call this day a dud day as well. And I just feel like very lucky to be able to show you guys all the different type of scenarios that can happen with this specific strategy, right? Friday, January 19th, we had a win. Thursday, May 9th, we had a loss. Monday, June 17th, we had a win. Thursday, August 1st, we had order block setups, but we got front ran every single time. And Friday, which is the current one, Friday, August 30th, we didn't even get any order block setups. One thing I forgot to mention earlier, guys, that you might have seen on the live stream is I trade the order blocks from 5 minutes, 3 minutes, and 1 minute. And the higher the time frame gets, the more priority is given to that specific order block on that time frame. So let's say on a 5-minute time frame, I get an order block setup, and on the 3-minute, I also get an order block setup. I'm going to be choosing the 5-minute time frame order block over the 3-minute time frame order block. Now, if I only have an order block setup, let's say on a 1 minute, and the 3 minutes and the 5 minute isn't showing me any order blocks, then I'm going to look into trade that 1 minute order block according to the strategy that I've shown you so far, guys. And that concludes how I trade the order blocks, a little bit of definition of why the order blocks are created, and pretty much everything I really wanted to cover, including the live examples of backtesting of me winning, losing, or getting front run. Please, once again, take this strategy with a grain of salt, add it into your own arsenal, but use your own confluences to work with it. Make the strategy work with you. And I cannot emphasize this enough. No strategy is a perfect strategy, and almost any strategy that uses key levels as its basis is going to work out as long as you have your risk management properly set up and you're comfortable with it. Now, if you want to know what my risk management style is, please leave a comment on this video. Please tell me on the live streams if you actually want to see how I use my risk management tool to help me leverage more profitable trades. And I'll see if I can make a video on that if there's high enough demand. But as far as this video is concerned, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Once again, thank you guys for joining in. Hit the thumbs up button if you like what I'm doing here. If you don't like the video, hit the thumbs down button. It helps with the algorithm anyways. We get more attention. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and check out our live streams that we do every single morning where I trade live with raw insights on my prop firm accounts. We're going to see you guys in the next video. And until then, trade safe and be smart. Peace.